Now that we have the free cash flows, we need to find an appropriate discount rate. We learned in this course that the appropriate discount rate is the weighted average cost of capital with the following formula. The weights are given by the proportion of net debt and equity in Whole Foods' capital structure. Recall the market value balance sheet for Whole Foods that we were filling in. Since we are not done with the valuation exercise, we do not have the value of equity that we need to compute the weights. Instead, we will use as an approximation the value that Amazon is willing to pay, that is $13.4 billion. Now, we need the value of net debt, which is simply the total amount of debt minus cash. Debt is $1,048 million and cash is $1,123 million. That is, net debt is minus $75 million. Equipped with the value of net debt and equity, we can now compute the weights. The weight on net debt is minus 75 divided by 13,400 minus 75. This is virtually zero. Since the weights add up to 1, the weight on equity is very close to 1. As a result, the weighted average cost of capital for Whole Foods simplifies to just the cost of equity. The next step is to compute the cost of equity. As we learned in this course, we can do this by using the CAPM. Recall the formula for the CAPM. We need Whole Foods beta equity, the risk-free rate, and the market risk premium. Fortunately for us, Whole Foods is a publicly traded firm, and therefore its equity beta can be measured directly. That is, in this example, we do not need to use the comparable firms to find Whole Foods beta. I look up the beta equity of Whole Foods in Google Finance around the time of the merger agreement and found it to be 0.82. For the risk-free rate, we use the yield on a 10-year maturity government bond. Around the time of the merger agreement, the yield was 2.44%. For the market risk premium, recall that we were using 5%. However, estimates of the market risk premium vary from 3 or 4% all the way to 8%. Using a 5% market risk premium leads to a cost of equity of 6.54%. However, if I use a market risk premium of 6.9%, I obtain a cost of equity of 8.1%. Since there is a great deal of uncertainty about the precise level of the weighted average cost of capital, Evercore showed different values for different levels of the weighted average cost of capital, ranging from 7% to 9%.